And on Monday, February 26th, we have recovered. It's the 359 episode 360 finally. I'm BVG, and your hosts today include Alfred and Ben Fox Rubin. Good morning, guys.
Oh my God, we're back.
Welcome back after our well-deserved breather, after our landmark 359th episode. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And before we go any further, thanks again to everybody who did join us for the extent of that day in whatever capacity you did.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed doing that, except for my butt. My butt is still sore.
Well, you were the only one that had to sit here the whole 4 hours, so
Yeah.
I am forever impressed with
My ability to sit on my butt.
Yeah, well, it was a marathon effort where I was seeing you queue up stuff for whatever like idiotic crap was coming out of our mouths. It'd be like, oh, they're talking about cell phones on your head. I better find a story about that.
Well,
What are we doing, like 8 hours today?
yeah, we're only going to do 8 hours live today.
Okay.
Anyways, what are we covering today?
Today, we are going to be talking all about the Samsung Galaxy S9. It was introduced yesterday at Mobile World Congress. So send in your questions and comments about that phone. We're going to be spending most of our time on that, but also another Mobile World Congress cell phone story, the Nokia 8110. Nokia decided to do another nostalgia phone, so we're going to talk about that and whether people are going to buy the banana phone from the Matrix. Send in your questions and comments. BVG will get to as many as he can at the end of the show. Let's get to the podcast.
And here we go for the recording of the 359 episode 360 in tres, dos, uno.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred.
As expected, Samsung introduced the Galaxy S9 phone at Mobile World Congress on Sunday. It's not that different from last year's S8, but here are some of the key changes. It's got an updated camera, with the Plus version getting a new dual camera setup. The fingerprint sensor got moved from the awkward position by the camera, and the processor is faster. Do you think this is enough for people to get like really excited about this phone?
Yeah, this is going to be the best phone that you can buy with a headphone jack on it.
Yes, you're right.
That's
I
like the
totally
biggest
forgot to
point.
mention
That's
the
the-
headphone jack.
Like, I would be marketing myself as that if I were Samsung right now. Like, you will not find a better phone with a headphone jack on it.
I seriously like, okay, so I do radio hits sometimes and I'm like, oh, call my work cell phone. And you know, you want to put on earbuds sometimes just to like tune out like all the other sound around you. And I go and I get like the headphone jack ready to put into my iPhone 8, which is my work my work phone. And I'm like, no, foiled again. This is horrible. So
Yeah, but I mean, like, talking about its other features, though, it's going to have like the new Snapdragon processor. Only the Plus line will have the dual cameras, which is kind of annoying when their whole thing was, we're going to make our cameras like so much better. It's going to be amazing. Also, it's only in our high-end model. Like,
yeah,
it's just,
there are some new things that are going to be added to the baseline, the regular S9. I think they both have this aperture where it's going to bring in more light. It's going to allow crisper photos, especially with low light. Also, I wanted to mention our Samsung reporter, Shara Tibkin. She said, if you're not wowed by the S9, just wait. Usually the Note, which comes out later in the year, has a few more riskier things included in it. And also look out for foldable phones, which we're probably not going to expect to see this year, but it's something that Samsung has been talking about so much that they're not going to give up on it, and you're probably going to see it at some point.
yeah, I mean, I have to say, though, I am really not that wowed by the S9. I am waiting.
It's
'cause there's
incremental.
There's not really much else I can do.
I don't think you were expected to be wowed by the S9. As we had spoken about before, the S8 was really supposed to help Samsung bring back its reputation after the Note 7. The S9 is really more refinement and improvements.
They moving the fingerprint sensor. The fact that that's like a notable thing tells me that there's not really that much like.
Yeah,
of a
but like
plus
if you've got a phone that's like 2 or 3 years old, you're probably going to want to buy this one potentially. By the way, it hits stores March 16th, and the price range in the U.S. is between $720 and $870. We also wanted to mention the Nokia 8110 is back. Nokia leveled another nostalgia bomb on MWC, re-releasing the 90s era banana phone made famous from The Matrix. The device follows up Nokia's unveiling of the 3310 at last year's MWC, which was a dumb phone, but basically stole the show.
I would really like to be a fly on the wall in Nokia's like headquarters or something, where it's like, hey, let's just bring out old phones again.
Yeah, it's so the company that's making these phones is HMD Global. It's staffed by a bunch of former Nokia executives. Nokia is still its own company that makes IT and communications technology, but HMD decided to take on the Nokia phone line, and it's definitely got a ton of buzz around it. The
Yeah,
problem
so-
is like, are they making money off?
So
of
this
these
one's
phones?
not going to be completely dumb though, right? Like this one, like it has one
Snake.
app on it.
It has
one.
Snake.
No, well, it has a specific like Facebook app, and that's it.
Really?
Everything else though is like your typical dumb phone with like a 4G connection, but the rest is like there's Facebook. So here you go.
It's also not expected to make it to the U.S., but Nokia said that about the 3310, and then the 3310 did eventually end up making it to the U.S. So hopefully we'll hold our breath and see the banana phone coming soon. If you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred.
Thanks for listening.
So is like Nokia become the Nickelodeon of phone companies where
Sure.
they just reboot their old classic stuff and like embrace and say, well, we were great in the 90s.
It's
I feel like Nokia
it's
is just
such
like
good marketing, though.
It's just
I just hope that they're actually like making some money off of these
it's
because
just like you guys wanted curved phones. Here you go. Here's a banana phone.
right. I really think that this is a cool, fun phone. I continue to think that there should be a market for some of these types of phones, whether it's for your kids or maybe the elderly, that they don't need all the bells and whistles, or you don't want to give your kids all the bells and whistles. The thing is that I tried to look up the finances for HMD Global. I'm pretty sure they are a privately held company, so I struggled to actually find out whether all these phones that they're getting a lot of interest and excitement about, whether that's actually translating into money. Because if it is, then they're just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, but I also don't think like it costs them a lot of money to
No,
to
that's
like,
a good
you know,
point.
yeah, they're not losing any money on this. I would imagine just in the sense that, you know, it's not like they have to pay a whole new team for like research and design on like an old like a rehash of an
No.
old phone.
That's true, and they really do not do a lot of effort to try to improve the phone
Yeah.
significantly. Like the 3310 is like basically the same phone as it was like 20 odd years ago.
And like the material probably doesn't cost that much for them to make either. I would assume this is like the super no, I'm sorry, the NES Classic for them, where like it doesn't cost them that much, but it gets them like a lot of like recognition, and then they can just like sell something that they didn't really have to do that much work on.
Right, but we do know pretty well that the NES Classic and the SNES Classic sold really well.
Yeah,
those were
yeah.
those were mini consoles that were heavy on nostalgia, and people like really loved those.
Yeah.
and they bought a lot of them. I'm still unsure whether that's going to happen. By the way, if you're interested in a 3310 and you live in the US, you can get them at Best Buy, Walmart, or Target for the low price of $60 for a phone.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 3G. So the good thing about the banana phone is at least it's available in 4G.
Well, thank you for answering Imagine Sagi's question if the 3310 was available in the U.S.
It is, and it took a long time initially. I'm pretty sure Nokia said HMD said, no, we're not going to bring this to the United States. It seems as though they're really not that focused on the U.S. market, which to a certain extent makes sense. Like the U.S. market is filled with really expensive smartphones. So if you focus this on maybe some emerging markets, maybe you're going to get a little bit more traction.
Wasn't that the goal to begin with, though? Like, that's why they weren't selling it in the U.S.?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think so.
Got
I on the last podcast that we had, though, that wasn't the 4-hour one when we were doing our MWC
I blacked out.
preview.
I don't remember any of it.
Well, sure. But I remember talking with Roger about like what retro phone do we think that Nokia is gonna bring back.
Did he mention this one, the Matrix
No,
phone?
no, he didn't mention this one. I was just shouting out about the N-Gage, the video game phone. That, like,
Oh,
went
yeah.
nowhere.
That's right. The N-Gage, and what was the other? The Razer phone. We talked about bringing back the Razer, which would be pretty cool.
I feel like that's inevitable at
The
some
original
point.
flip phone, yeah. I totally agree. I think that could be pretty cool. Do we have S9 questions? I would be not that surprised if everybody just wants to talk about the Nokia phone. But
No, we do. We got plenty of good questions, but first, I kind of want to address David's question. He says, "I don't really have much problem with the S9, but that keynote was difficult to watch. So cringe." Now, I didn't watch the keynote
didn't
because
see it either.
I was,
was
home.
on Sunday.
Yes, yeah, I was home yesterday off, and I try not to do anything work related on days off. Did you see it, Alfred?
It was so cringe. No, I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it either.
Sorry, guys.
We're
None of us saw it.
we're running off of what our coworkers who are being paid to be in Barcelona have to be there for
It's a
that.
tough life.
And they did not mention any of the cringier elements, but now that you've said that, I'm totally gonna go back and watch it myself.
I don't know. I saw the whole, what was it? The last one, the one in New York. I think it was the Note.
Yeah, that was the Note event.
That was a solid event. They had a really cool stage, but
Too
I
long.
don't know.
It was
I'll
pretty
have to-
notable.
It was
Way too long.
It was very long, but I will go back, David, and watch some of it and see how cringy it is. I'll see if I can, torture myself into watching the whole thing.
So I was impressed by the camera, by having the actual mechanical shutter. I thought that was kind of cool. The thing I was least impressed by was by far the AR emoji stuff. I can't believe that's like a
Yeah.
sell point now, and it's crossing brands. It's flooring me. It's like this. Okay, it's fine. It's a fun little gimmick. Is this really like a top feature you would need to put on the front page?
Yeah, because there's not that much they can do in hardware anymore.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
And to Samsung's credit or whatever, Apple, because there wasn't really a ton in the iPhone 10. I mean, like the design was different, but at the same time, the software for them to talk about Animoji, they also made it a big headline situation too. So it's a Me Too type of world, and Samsung wanted to say like, hey, we can do this too. So that's why they came out with it.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation here about the S9, Sony? People are asking about Sony. Have we seen anything out of Sony yet this year?
Geez, I am not caught up with the Sony news. There's a ton going on at MWC, and I was especially focused on the Samsung stuff.
Yeah, so our colleague Andrew Hoyle has a story on our website right now about the Xperia XZ2, and XZ2 Compact. Mostly about like the improvements to their camera. I think cameras are generally a big theme here, but it's like what we talked about last Wednesday with our MWC preview. A lot of it is going to be like heavily Samsung focused. A lot of companies are kind of like don't want to be overshadowed by the S9, so they're kind of just waiting until a different time to when they have their own moment to shine to like talk about their like major devices. But yeah, we do have a story about Sony's like XZ2 series.
Got it. From Alex Mitchell, will these AR emojis be available on the Note 8? I want the silly feature. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it will be just because
It's going to
newer
depend on that
technology.
Snapdragon 845.
yeah, that and the Note 8 also doesn't have the same like AR scanning features that like these phones will have. So yeah, I think you're gonna have to get like a newer phone for something like that. But
Yeah, at the same time, I would love to ask that person, would you get a new phone
just
to
for
become a
emojis.
poop emoji? I mean, I think a lot of folks, got the iPhone 10, but they got it not because of that. So
Sure, of course. Michael Brown, did Samsung announce any software updates or additions?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they introduced, I paid extra attention to this just because I'm a security writer, but they announced Intelligent Scan, which basically it now combines iris scanning and facial recognition to unlock your phone. So iris scanning is actually extremely like very secure because it's much harder to spoof like your eyes than like an entire face. So what they do now is like, let's say you're in like a low light scenario or any scenario where like iris scanning like might not work. Like if you have sunglasses on or something like that, it falls back to facial recognition instead, which is not as secure, but like they're more so looking at it from like a convenience perspective rather than, we want to make this as secure as possible. So now it's easier to unlock your phone using your face, even if you're like blinking or it can't like pick up like your eyes or anything like that.
yeah, I mean, that also to me sounds like it's playing catch up to the iPhone 10.
Yes.
So yeah,
It's-
if you were interested in the iPhone 10 for whatever reason, Samsung's probably trying to give you more reason to stick
It's
with
basically
Samsung.
trying to match Face ID with none of the hardware like
Right.
updates because like with Face ID like a lot of it is using the infrared scanners to like mark like something
all these
like
different dots
dots
on your face. Yeah, exactly.
This one does not do that. This one just like looks for your eyes and then like your face itself.
Right. So with the S8 iris scanner, I have tried it before and turned it off immediately because it was really bad. So it's nice to see that they actually did try to make an improvement with that.
Yeah, and like the idea is like with biometrics, a lot of the times it's more about like convenience than it is security. And you're
Mm-hmm.
saying you don't use the like iris scanner because it's really annoying. I think they're trying to get people back on that though. So like even though like the iris scanner might not work, they'll like register your face, and like it's not as secure, but like they know that like it doesn't matter if no one's gonna use it anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
Question from Srinjoy. Why aren't non-headphone jack phone companies including a crappy basic USB-C headphone and bumping the overall price a few dollars? Don't ask them to do that. Don't plant that idea in their heads.
Wait a minute. They would include a crappy USB-C headphone, and then what?
Like, are you saying that like a company that comes out with like the Pixel 2, like why it doesn't include a USB-C headphone to begin with?
Yeah, if we want to just like start regulating or normalizing that, I think it's the right word I'm looking for.
Oh, the idea is that when you get the Pixel 2,
Or any phone that
you
like,
would get Bluetooth headphones separately.
no,
and they
not
don't
Bluetooth,
include
like
them.
USB-C
USB-C.
headphones.
Oh, you would have to
Yeah,
buy those
I mean,
separately?
Apple does that with their iPhones. Like they have like the headphones.
lightning
yeah,
jack
with
headphones.
the lightning
Saying,
jack.
why
yeah.
aren't we all just copying Apple? Don't do that. they're bad.
See, this is the problem is that I still don't see the potential of headphone jacks coming back to those flagship phones.
I don't think
Like with the Pixel line, they just quietly got rid of the headphone jack. I was hoping they would keep it, but they didn't. So now this is like the S9 is like the only one that's going to.
I appreciate headphone jacks just because every single one of my headphones are like auxiliary ports or whatever. But the thing is that like it makes a lot of sense to want to switch to USB-C just because like that port like does so many things, and like
Sure.
yeah, you can listen to music on it, you can charge on it, you can like transfer like data.
Yeah, I know. It's just the problem is that a headphone jack is one of the only universal jacks because it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
So now with like the separation of that technology or for that input output into 3 different ways where you have the Lightning, the USB-C, and a headphone jack from a consumer perspective, that's totally maddening.
Yeah.
And that's why like when I mentioned like I've got one pair of headphones at my desk and I'm trying to plug it into an iPhone 8 and I'm like, oh great, yeah, it's an iPhone 8. This still isn't gonna work.
You just think Ben's messing around, square peg in a round hole kind of back there, just like,
This is
oh.
literally, yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Question from Michael Brown. We'll come back to S9 stuff. We're almost out of time, but let's change gears for just a second. The new Vivo concept phone looks amazing, but how do you hold the damn thing?
So the Vivo concept phone, is that the one where like the selfie camera pops up?
Yup, that's the one.
Okay, so it's just a concept phone at this point. It looks really cool. Well, it's got
How does
like
that
hardly
look cool?
No. It's got hardly any bezel on it. So
That
like,
thing pops up in your pocket, snaps clean off.
Yeah.
Calling it right now.
I'm telling you, the selfie camera I'm not that interested in, but the way that the actual phone looks, where it's got almost no bezel, I think that looks pretty interesting. I mean, like you can get a similar look from other phones these days, but I don't think that people are really going to get that interested in the pop-up selfie camera, though.
I mean, this fingerprint stuff about the 2 prints, I'm all about additional security options and alternatives for setup and all this, but I don't like edge-to-edge bezel. I want to have something to hold on to. I'm with Michael on this one. I have a V10, and I struggle. I bump it all the time.
Mm-hmm. So the important thing to remember is that usually people put it in a case. So I have an S8, and
So it renders
that
the
has
entire
hardly-
effort moot.
The
To a
bezel
certain
the
extent.
bezel is now also off the phone, much like the selfie stick. It's
How-
like a pop-up thing
It's a
around
pop-up
it.
bezel. But yeah, it makes it easier to hold when you put it in a case for sure. But I know some people or a lot of people don't use a case.
I just wonder how long it is until we get the anti-bezel, where the
Mm-hmm.
screen actually overflows and rounds the edge, and you have to like hook your fingers underneath it to hold
We're
on
getting
to.
there, and
Yeah.
then HMD Global is going to come back with like a phone that's only bezel. It's just not even going to have a screen on it. It's 100% bezel.
Yeah, bring back the rotary phone.
Bring back. We're going to wait for HMD to do that.
A couple more questions before we call it a day. Daniel McCraig, did Samsung release any information about new wireless charging at MWC?
Not that I heard of.
No,
Did
that
you
would
hear
be pretty
anything about
exciting if
that?
they would, but
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything either. Lightning round. Ryan Williams, how long will it be before Samsung completely gives up on Bixby?
Oh, that's
Ouch.
I
think
so they talked a lot about Bixby at CES. I did not see this presentation, so maybe they talked about Bixby during.
Yeah, they're
this.
still betting pretty hard on it. I mean, maybe, and I'm only saying maybe, but like I highly doubt it. Like maybe they'll drop it for phones, but you're not gonna see them give up on it for their TVs or like refrigerators.
Or
And they're
appliances,
yeah, and they're most likely gonna be doing it for like their own speaker too, to like to compete with
right,
like
which they're going to come out with later.
Yeah.
They said that they're going to have it.
yeah. So like that being said though, if it's gonna be on the rest of their stuff, like they're probably not gonna drop it from their phones either.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a big enough company. It's a massive, massive conglomerate. It's a big enough company that it can take these types of long-term bets and basically force Bixby into, millions and millions of devices
Your
until
brain.
the point that, it does become a critical part of its ecosystem. Whether people start using it regularly, who knows? I mean, like Siri is available on tons and tons of phones, and I don't know. I always hated using Siri.
As per usual, we have great alternative concepts about prior things that we've slightly dismissed. On Redu, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It says if pop-up cameras like the Vivo phone, if possible, then could it be possible for 360 cameras on the phone? There's a thought right there, and the actual execution. If you,
So I believe the Essential phone has a 360 camera on it. It's
like a mod, yeah.
but
you-
that's
yeah.
but this is native, built in. This is standard.
That would be pretty wild. I don't even know what that would look like, but that sounds pretty interesting.
I don't know. It seems kind of like because there's so like you said, like Essential has their like mod on it. 360 cameras on the phone. I don't.
It would have to be a pop-up though.
I guess I don't know. Samsung did something like that with the Note 8 when they had their event in New York, where it was like a Bluetooth like add-on to it that you could buy, and it was just like this little stick that kind of looked like the girl robot from WALL-E.
Mm.
Yeah, and like you just like carried it around and like you shot like with that, and it like it synced with your
That's
phone
kinda
like
cool.
automatically.
So I saw something on Shark Tank too, where what you do is you stand up your phone on the table, and then it buzzes around and can take a 360 shot. Like
The
it
hell?
uses its vibration, uses the vibration of the phone to turn and take 360
Did that get
cameras.
any funding?
They went crazy about it because it was patented. It was a
Okay.
patented technology where like they were the only ones that, if for whatever reason that became popular, you'd have to go through this company to do it.
That seems like there's a lot of elements that need to be absolutely ideal for that to actually work.
Yeah. Yes, but it is possible.
And how does it take like a clear photo if it's vibrating the whole time? You know, like when you try to take a picture and you get a text message at the same time.
I assume
and
it's not going to vibrate
like,
the whole
this
time.
weird,
I think it
like-
vibrates
Stop,
to turn.
Stop.
Yeah.
That sounds so
and then
stupid.
stitches. The Mark Cuban and everybody else that was on Shark Tank was like absolutely into it.
Put
The second
one,
he said
one
that it was
crumb on the
patented-
table and that sucker goes down.
because patented plus iPhone equals funding on Shark Tank.
Yeah, of
So
course.
to me it made sense that they went a little gaga over it.
One more time, Danny Green expanding on the pop-up camera. Didn't Asus or somebody announce a laptop with a pop-up cam and the keyboard in the last
Yes,
few days?
I saw that this morning. It was so goofy. So I don't know if it's on our website. I'd seen it on Twitter, but it's basically instead of the camera being like up top, like where it usually is, there's like a button on the keyboard that like has a camera key on it, and then you like it like lifts up like a lid, and then there's a camera inside of it. It's like
Why?
it's like a little like guy like spying on you or something. like
It's
that.
also there have been like I remember when Ackerman was on the marathon show, he mentioned that they're like having a camera down below instead of up top and closer to eye level basically means that they're gonna like take pictures of your
Nose hairs.
Nose hairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
So
seen that
so
before.
that seems like a similar problem.
I remember being in the room when Lori reviewed one of the laptops. I don't remember what model it is. She's on so many. But she was reviewing it. She goes, why? Why? Just, that's hysterical.
That's a great review.
That's most of how I look at technology nowadays.
All right, we are just about out of time. Reminders, when do pre-sales for the S9 go up?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd. So I think that's this Friday. And so the
Oh, God, it is.
pre-orders are this Friday, and then they hit stores March 16th.
All right, that's it for us on episode 360. Ben, you want to take us home?
Sure. All right. The 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. Thanks, everybody, for watching and sending in your cues.
We'll see you tomorrow.